Start now.
Coach Jay, how? I got a full mouth. I'm sorry. Hope you're doing well. Hope every one of you are doing well, except if you're a Buckeye fan. We're going to go into the 7th period one today. And if you got questions, we're going to be live here. We're going to go through those questions on this podcast, all right? All right, so if y'all have questions, let's throw them out. Do you have a number?
10.
10 sounds good. Okay.
Great job, Carson.
So 10, except Carson. Carson's having a good day. I like that. All right, so what we have on number 10 is we have this piecewise. Now, I won't, like on the piecewise function, when you go to graph it, it will just be ones with lines. All right, so I'll say, this is a side note, but I'll say like 2x1 if x is greater than 0, right? And x minus 3 if x is greater or less than, less than or equal to 0. You'll have to graph something like that, all right? Again, just kind of a heads up. But in terms of like evaluating this, we have one where it's x squared minus 1 over x minus 1. That's 12. I know it's kind of weird. But this one says x is not equal to 1, and this one is x is equal to 1, okay? All right? All right, so let's see. We've got a couple of these. Now we have f of negative 2. What does negative 2 represent?
X.
Good. Nicely done. Very good. So that's kind of what we're plugging into, right? You know, if we had a graph, how we could figure out like how to get what our output was on a graph? Do y'all know how to do that? Like if I said f of negative 2 or f of 1 on a graph, do you know how to find the y?
Yeah, you go that way.
Yeah, you see where it hits the y? Y'all did pretty good on your quiz on that. We could do another one if you need to. Okay, we can do another one if need be. So, but this one's a little different. So f of negative 2 means we're plugging x, negative 2 in for x, like Dory. So again, we use this equation when what?
It's a problem.
When it's,
Okay, it is. It could be.
Wait, which
yeah, it
one?
could be. This one we're using.
it's everything except for 1.
Good. So if we say x is equal to 1,
We
right?
use the 1.
We only equal to 1, then that means we use 1, right? Okay, so question.
Yep.
What is f of 1 then? Let's start with that one.
That's 12.
Good, because 1 is equal to 1, that's true. We go right straight here. Can I plug 1 in for anything here?
No.
There's no x. So whatever you see is what you get. So what we would say here is f of 1 equals 12. Okay, so that's the first one. Now what about f of negative 2? What equation will we plug that one in for? That's exactly right. We're going to do 1 on top, right? So this is where we do negative 2 squared minus 1 over negative 2 minus 1. Okay? What's negative 2 squared?
Minus 3. I mean,
Minus 1?
4 minus 1.
Is 3?
Negative 3 is under it.
Yep. So 3 over negative 3, which equals? Negative 1. Nicely done. Okay? So we got negative 1 here. We've got 12 here. What do we plug this one in for? The top, because x is not equal to 1, right? Right? Anything other than 1, we're going to plug to the top. So 2 squared is? Minus 1 is? 3. Good. So that's the top. And then 2 minus 1 on the bottom would be?
1.
Yep. And so this equals 3, right? We're literally just plugging and chugging into that. Get out. That's your output, right? That's like your y. This is your input. Okay? All right, questions on that one? On that one? Pretty good. Okay, could I do a quick one with y'all? Because I know this will be on the actual test, and I want to make sure I hit this. Look at number 4 and number 5 and number 6, okay? Number 4, what type of equation is that going to be? Slope intercept. So what type of picture? You don't have to know the exact. Good if we did. If we got x by itself, what would it look like?
Y equals 2x negative 8 minus 2x.
Yeah, 8 minus 2x or negative 2x plus 8. I'll take either, right? So what's the graph of that?
400.
Say that again, Mary Martha. Yeah, so slope is a line, right? Okay, very good. So is that going to be a function?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay. I'm just showing you the difference because almost this exact one's on the test. I'm telling you right now. 4, 5, and 6 are right there. Okay. What would I do on? Good. So I'd have y equals what, Leah? Nice. Good. A line, right? What type of graph is this? right? Parabola. So if it's a parabola, does that pass the, is it a function? Yes, it does, because as I go across, right, it only hits once each time. So a parabola is always going to be a function. All right, I'm saying, look at 6, okay? Get y by itself, what would I do on 6? White here. Yes, and both that 2x over, right? So y squared equals negative 2x plus 6, right? Let's take the square root of both sides. If I square root both sides, what happens?
Y equals square root of
Yeah, y'all are rocking. Good. And this is also plus or minus, right? Because if I square root a squared, we have plus or minus. Now, here's the thing. If you can just recognize that every time y squared, you see y squared, it's not going to be a function, because when I square root it, the picture will look something like, and I'll do this in red so you can see, something like that right there, where you have the top, which is plus, the bottom, which is minus, and does that pass? Is that a function? No, it is not, okay? So just again, just recognize y squared. If you see that, can I have x squared?
Yeah.
Yes, I can. That's a quadratic. That's different, right? See y squared, I understand that it's not going to be a function, okay? Because doesn't pass the word test. Almost that exact ones on the test. That's why I wanted to hit those 3, okay? Y'all see any other ones that you're like, man, that one's tough? 16? Got you. Would you mind, because I did 16 in the other class, would you mind if I did 14?
Okay.
What makes 16 tough? Would you mind telling me, Kendall? Because it could be
Yeah, the square root.
square root's kind of weird. In the terms of like graphing it, is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know how to find the domain.
Gotcha. Okay, let's do this. Let's go, let's talk through one quick thing. What if I had plus 3? If I said find the domain of this without graphing, what would you tell me? Good. X plus 3 equals 0. Good, Gianna. And what is x not equal to then? Negative 3. Because if it was, what would it do to the bottom? What would it do? Cancel it out, and it would make it 0. Good, Mary Martha. Very good. So normally, this would be negative infinity to infinity, but what happens with negative 3?
It goes in this.
It goes right straight in the middle, right? It splits it up because it can't be that. So then we would have negative infinity to negative 3 and negative 3 to infinity. You're probably wondering where this thing is at, right, on your review. I just tried to throw one in there that might be on the test, okay? So just kind of a heads up, how to find the domain with just giving an equation, right? Trying to remind you. Kendall, you had asked me, you said, all right, so my question is now, what if I had like square root of x plus 1, right? How would I find that domain? Well, x plus 1 is what? Greater than or equal to 0, because I can't get anything negative in, right? Anything negative would produce an imaginary number I. So what is, after solving it, what is x greater than or equal to? Negative 1. Excellent. Good, Dory. Okay. I'm going to back up. Do y'all get the one right here?
No.
Not really? Okay. So,
Like, what did you even do? What yeah, like,
okay, so a couple of these, right? A couple of these, 2 things that are combined, okay? Let me kind of backtrack, because those are good questions. Number 1, the characteristics of the graph, this is good news for y'all. I'm going to give you the picture. Does that make sense? So when I say, hey, tell me the domain range, x and y intercepts, I'm going to give you the actual picture, and you just tell me what it is, kind of like the quiz. Now on this, sometimes I might have one, I think there's only one on there on this, where I'll give you the equation, tell me what the domain is. Y'all remember that? We kind of hit on that a little bit. Remember, the bottom cannot be equal to what? 0, right? That's why we said, I think Gianna said it, we set x plus 3 equal to 0, and we now know that negative 3 can't be equal to x, because if it did, it would be undefined, right?
Why can't it be equal to 0?
Because if it was, it's undefined, right? As far as what the graph looks like,
Oh, and
it's 0 on the bottom. Yeah. Can a 0 be on the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can, just not on the bottom, right?
So then instead of the domain being negative infinity, then you do 3 because it can't be equal.
Correct. It approaches negative 3. So it like comes straight in the middle, breaking it up between 2. It approaches negative 3, but it's not a bracket, right? It's going to approach it. That's why we have a parenthesis there. And it's hard because you don't see the graph and you don't know how to graph it. Just trust me that it can't hit that. So it's negative infinity to -3 and -3 to infinity. All right. Are y'all good with the first one? A little bit. Leah, you're saying no? That's okay.
I think it might be something.
No, you're good. This is tough. This one's tough. I'm not lying. If I give you the picture, which what we could do in a second, you probably be a lot better on domain and stuff. It's this one that can be tougher, right?
Well, I just don't get why there's two.
Yeah, do you get how like normally it's negative infinity to infinity, right? That's kind of like what normally is the domain, right? But the reality is x can't be equal to -3. Do you trust me on that, right? Okay, so because of that, we just put it right straight in the middle and just break it up. Negative infinity to -3 and -3 to infinity. It literally goes straight in the middle. Does that make sense? So that's only when it's on the bottom. Only on the bottom, okay? Now with this one, I like this one better. It's a little easier for me. If I set x plus 1 greater than or equal to 0.
But what do you do with the square root?
All we're doing is saying that we can't have a negative inside of a square root, right? Okay, I can't because it'd be imaginary. So we set whatever's inside greater than or equal to 0 to where when we subtract it, x is greater than or equal to -1.
No, I mean, I know you can have a negative inside of a square root, but why is it there? Like, don't you have to square it or something? I mean,
No, yeah, you don't have to because we're just finding what the domain is. We're not trying to solve or anything. You're right. If we were solving, you're right. We would. We could. But we're just trying to find the domain. So if x is greater than or equal to -1, what is the least value that I can have in this? I'll be right there, Rose. I see you.
Why is it -1?
1. You see that there?
Oh, okay, yes.
So x is greater than or equal to -1. The lowest value I can have is, anyone? -1, right? What's the highest value? Infinity, right? Parenthesis, what would be here? Bracket, because it's greater than or equal to. That is my domain there. Correct?
So with number 16, you said x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 0, and then x is
Correct.
greater than or equal to -3.
Correct. Now on the review sheet, it's telling you to graph it and then do it, right? Remember, I told you that it's either going to be one or the other. I'm either going to tell you, just give me the domain and that's it, or I'll give you the picture and then you'll tell me all that other stuff on there, okay? And we can do one as an example here in just a second, okay? Yeah, Kendall.
You know, those greater than or equal to is greater than.
Good question. Can I have, if I put -1 in for this, right? -1 plus 1 is 0, right? Can I have the square root of 0? Yes. But anything less than 0, I cannot have. You follow me? 0 and greater, I can have anything there. That's why it's greater than or equal.
Should we just leave it sort of? Number 16.
No, yeah. So I'm just giving an example. Got me? What I'm saying though, Claudia, is I can get anything, plug anything in from -1 to infinity. And that's okay. That's okay.
How do you range? Is that
The range, we will not find the range from this. Only the domain. Unless I give you a picture. If I give you a picture.
Find the range. And this one is just find the range interval increasing.
Correct. I'll do one like number 14. I did number 16 on the other podcast, but I'll do one like 14, which will help us. Okay.
Wait.
J Rose, did you have one?
Yeah, I was just asking about 14 and 15. Well, 14 and 15.
That's a great. Yeah.
Can you just graph those?
You could on the actual test. You'll have to. I think the only ones I have you graph are like lines. But if you were to do it, just knowing how to do chart too. For this, yes, you can. Yes,
So
you
what do I
can.
do for this? I just plug in -3, -2,
Correct. Correct.
and then positive, all the way to +3, then just graph that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But what I would do, I would not do that to you on the test. You'll either have one where I give you the say, just graph it. I won't say graph it and find all this stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go here. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, so with the one on number 14, okay, I'm going to give you what the picture is, okay? I'm going to give you the picture, and then what I want you to do is we're going to find all of the stuff off that. So this will count as number 14. You do not have to graph 14 by hand, okay? So I'm just going to give it to you so you have it, and then go from there, okay? All right, so I want to pretend like this is not 6. We're going to pretend like this is 9. And I know that that's weird a little bit, but just for the sake of where we're at, and what we're going to pretend is that this kind of goes upward, just like this, okay? Leah, I'm giving you the picture, okay? I'm trying to help you with what actually is on the test. Does that make sense? So what would happen is you would get this picture, and I would ask you now the following questions. You ready? All right. What is the x and y intercept? Okay. Does it hit the x-axis?
No. So there's no X.
So we would just say no x-intercept, right? None. What is the y-intercept?
9.
Yeah, we're just going to say this is 9, and I know you could count right there because I don't want to go higher to confuse more. We're going to say that that's 9, so you would say what? What's 0, 9? Nicely done, okay? Now, the next part is, again, a little different. We're going to go domain in range. So what's the furthest left, the furthest right for domain? 2? Good. Negative infinity to infinity. Perfect. What is 9?
9 to infinity.
9 to infinity. And yeah, 9 is included, so we're going to have a bracket on that, okay? Lee, is this helping now?
Yeah.
This is more realistic of what will be on the test, okay? All right? So 9 to infinity is what we had. Now, did it ask for anything else?
Increasing.
Yeah.
Intervals, decreasing, and constant.
How many of you struggle with increase, decrease, and constant? Okay.
Yes.
Sense? Okay. Yeah, this one's probably the tough one. It's just hard to read it. You're not the only one.
Increasing and decreasing will be on your test.
How many?
Yeah.
There might be a couple. I'll be honest. There'll be a couple.
It's
Yeah, what?
on the equation it's -9, so it's
Say x squared minus 9. If you want to, just the sake of what we're doing, make it plus. That's fine. Okay. What it should be, because I saw it wrong, it would be down at -9 and going up. But again, like I told Leah, my big thing is that I'm trying to give you questions that you can take, you can exchange, but that's off the test. Okay. So I'm going to have a lot that I give you a picture. You tell me what it is. Okay. So like, for instance, we'll just keep this graph right now just so that we're consistent. Kendall, you got something? Yeah. Gotcha. That's cool. So as we go from left to right, correct, it usually is going to go all the way from negative infinity. And as I progress to the right, remember we're focused on the what axis? X. So from negative infinity, what's happening to the graph right now? Decreasing, right? You see it from left to right? So it's decreasing from negative infinity to where? Okay, this is where we start getting a little confused, okay? I think this is the part. What are we focused on? What axis?
Wait, how did X?
Well, yes, if you went from right to left, remember we're always going left to right. So we're reading it like a book from left to right, okay?
So it's decreasing to
Yep, so it's decreasing from negative infinity to the x-axis, right? Yes, it is up here. Yes, I get that. But we're focused just on the x-axis. Okay, so decreasing from infinity to 0. Now, what's cool about that is where I stop, I'm going to pick up something else. So once I go from 0 to, where am I going? Infinity, what's happening? Increasing. So I say 0 to infinity is increasing. Is there a constant? No, there's not. Okay. What do y'all think, Kendall?
If we did it where it was actually on -9, then what would be
Yeah.
the
increasing
x?
The xv?
Yeah.
The x intercepts, you're saying? The x-intercepts would be 3 and -3.
Okay.
And then the way that you could do that is if you plug 3 in and plug -3 in, you would see that your y would be 0.
So you just go like where it hits on the side.
Yeah, that's why I don't, like I told Leah, I don't like the questions we have. That's why I included some more on the goose chase there. I think these are helpful, but I like the ones that are going to kind of link to the test. And the ones that are is the ones that if I give you a picture, you're going to be able to see it there.
Okay.
And then go from there.
Oh, so like when you give us a picture of it, it shows where it out.
Yes, you would have the actual picture, so you see where does it hit the x-axis, where does it hit the y, what's the domain range. So you can see it and then identify what are the intervals, right? That's what we're looking for. Okay? Are y'all good on that? Rose, you got some?
Yeah, so
Yeah, man.
so for 14, 15, 16, we're not gonna get one like that.
Yeah, not
You're gonna give us a picture and we just gotta tell you the range domain.
perfect. So like for instance 16, and I have this on another podcast, but on 16 you're gonna get a graph that kind of looks something, I'm actually right here, I'm sorry. This one, it's gonna look something like this. Instead of you having to grab everything, once you miss, then you're gonna tell me what's going on.
Are we gonna have to graph a problem and not tell you?
Yeah, you might have to just graph it, but you're not gonna have to graph it and tell me everything about it. Does that make
And
sense?
if we were to graph it, we just do the table thing.
T-chart.
Okay.
Yep. Or it's a line, you know, the y-intercept, slope, and all that. There's a couple lines on there. Knowing that, that's huge on that one as well. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Dory and then Caleb.
The slope undefined was 0 in the denominator.
Yeah. So when it is in the denominator, bottom, undefined. Zero's on the top.
It's just
0. And if it's, remember, we think of running. I can run on a horizontal line. I can't run on a vertical. So vertical's undefined. Horizontal is 0. Okay.
Can you go back to the
Yeah. Is it the what one again? That one? Perfect.
For like the decreasing, or no, wait, yeah, decreasing. If the 9 is like above the -1, would be,
Here?
or like,
If
yeah,
that
would
was
it
right
be
here.
negative -1? Yeah.
Yes, the -1 to infinity
Okay.
would be increasing. Good.
Can I go for my marble?
You can. Go ahead. Yes.
Question, and then can we do 15 next? Can you graph it so we can do it?
15 will not be on the test. You can cross 15 out altogether. Altogether. Okay.
So if it was x squared minus 9, like how it was on the actual thingy,
Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah.
but if it's going to the bottom, if you're left right, increasing curve,
It would still be decreasing. The
like
interval from negative infinity still to 0. It still would be, even though it's down here, and then increasing from 0 to infinity. Intervals would stay the same. Great question. Hey, y'all see number 13? I'll get to Monty real quick.
So it
Yeah.
says -9. Why is it positive?
Yeah, that was my fault when I read it. I was reading it and I was too busy explaining and I messed up. So if you want to change that to a plus, you can. I'm good because we went through it that way. I'm absolutely good with that. Okay. Again, I'm not concerned with the actual graph. Once you get the graph, like going through it, that's important. Like if you look at number 13, that's like really, if I could say one problem that like, make sure you know, 13 is a really good one.
we have to do the x
to do that.
y-intercept for these, for 13.
13, yeah, absolutely, we could do that. So like x-intercept would be what?
-3,
-3, and you'd say -3 comma 0, right? And what's the y-intercept?
-2, -0, -0, comma -2.
0,
What about
-2, good.
5
Wait.
though?
Yeah, it's 5, it's open circles, so we're gonna say it does not hit that.
And
Yeah, I mean-
would increasing be from like -3 to 5?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the interval on this one, okay, again, different. The way that you said decreasing, is that right?
Either one.
Increasing, okay, so let's do this. Let's go increase, decrease, and constant. I find it's easier if we do all of them at the same time, okay? So as we start, you'll notice it starts, we're talking x-axis, right? What's happening from -3 as we progress to the right on that one? Number 13. It's decreasing, right? So it's going from -3 to what one? Where does it stop on the x? -2, right? Number 13, my fault.
Would it just be 0?
Okay, yeah, not quite, because then at -2, what happens at 13?
It starts decreasing.
It starts increasing from -2 to what?
Wait, how? It goes
Wait,
down.
wouldn't it be
though.
0?
-2 to 0.
On the x.
All right, so here's what I see, okay? I just want to make sure you've got this. Right here. Here's what I see right here. Do you see this part? Okay, so you're good, dude. Yeah, you're good. Thanks, Brock.
Oh, wait, oh.
Oh, you're saying it goes up, and then I'm saying it goes back down.
Okay, so yeah, this one's, if you can get this with our intervals, this is a good one, okay? So we start at -3, and we start decreasing. Where do we stop on my x?
-2.
-2. Maybe this will, just got this revelation. This might help you right now, okay? So if you're struggling with this, you might want to listen because I just got an epiphany. If you want to, go on the x and say, okay, from -3 to -2, what's happening? It's decreasing. From -2 all the way to 0, what's happening? Increasing. From 0 all the way to about 3 right here? Decreasing. And then from 3 all the way to about 5, it's increasing. Then all you do when you put this down is just say, okay, it's decreasing, -3 to -. You 0 to 3. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Does that help a little bit better?
Yeah.
And then it's increasing from -2 to 0.
U.
U,
3 to 5.
-2 to 0. U, 3
And
there's
to
no-
5.
There's no constant, right?
No constant. Yep. Good. Yeah, that's good. If it was arrows, right? This is a little weird, a little different. But because it stops, the furthest left it goes is, and the furthest right it goes is, which would be a bracket? -3, right? Because it actually hits there. And 5 is, since it's an open circle, would be a parenthesis.
And then the range would be -5 to 0.
That's it. You got it. Oh, nicely done.
And that's not in brackets, right?
For the range,
Yes.
it will be because it actually does hit here. And even though it doesn't here and does here, we're going to say that it does somewhere.
So brackets for both.
Brackets for both.
Like
Yeah.
both?
Right,
Even
right here. The 5 right here. Yeah, this one's open, but remember we're talking about low to high for range. So -5 is in a bracket, and then the high point would end up being 0, right? One hits, one doesn't. We're going to say that the one that hits overcomes. Okay.
Are you gonna have one that's like, with a lot of weird words like that?
Maybe one of them. Most of them are like absolute value, quadratic, stuff like that. But I might, this is, I think we're able to do this,
Yeah.
I think we're good on this.
So that
Um,
means yes.
yeah, I think we could probably have 1 or 2 of those there. Okay. All right. Questions? Any other questions? Hopefully this is helping. Give you a little bit more confidence here. Is there any other ones that you're like,
What is
"Eh?"
the constant here?
Constant is where it's just consistent. So if I said, yeah, if I did this graph here, like where it increased and then stopped here and went straight across, that's constant. So it's constant from, yes, exactly right. -1 to infinity.
Okay.
Coach Jay, on number 18, it says define the slope. If
Yeah.
there's a 0 in front of the 9, then it's undefined, right? Or no slope?
If there's a 0 in front of what
And
again?
it's 0 on top of the 9.
If the 0's on top, the slope is 0. Okay? I hit it really hard in the last podcast, but if you think about it, what is shared? The best way I think about it is what one shared? Same value.
The y.
The y's do, and it's what? What value?
0.
1/4. So literally, your equation would be y equals 1/4.
Okay, so
Does
there's,
that make sense?
but what's the slope? Just 0?
It'd be 0, right? Y equals would be right here across. I can run on a flat surface that horizontally should be that thing. Okay? That makes
Yeah,
sense.
slope is just like,
Slope could, if it's up and down, that's undefined, right? If it's this way, the way I see it, if this is a horizontal, this is a horizontal line, right? I can walk on this. I have a slope of 0. Line up and down. I can't walk that. I can't run up that or
so
walk
what's
it.
the, just like a hill.
Yeah, slope is kind of that's what slope is, right? M and MX plus B.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. X value. Yeah, the only time it's not, like number 3 is the only one that would not be a function because 12 is shared in 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
But in but if it y has the same value as a
No.
Correct. Correct.
Oh, that hurts so
You're
bad.
welcome.
No.
That's all it's asking. Good. Does anyone else have any other questions on that? Lee? You're good.
I'm just asking, this is kind of like novel now, but when it says to write an equation,
Other people
is that
squat on
something
me.
like in point slope form or like slope intercept? Like which, how do we write, like, you know what I mean? Because there's several different types of equations, I guess.
Yeah, how do y'all feel, and now that's kind of related to this, how do y'all feel on the line stuff? Do we feel okay on that? Yeah? Do we need to do one of those real quick? This will be our last one. How about 22? We'll put 22 now. That's a good one. Carson, by the way, for podcasters out there. Okay?
Yeah, the Norwegian area.
That's right. Sweden, all my Swedish. All right. So in this example, kind of to answer your question on that, Leah, if I give this to you, I'm going to give you both, right? And what I would do is if I started with my point slope form, it's a lot easier to get the slope intercept, right? Okay. So let's say that on this one specifically, it says find a line that passes through -3, 6 and is perpendicular to this line, right? So Claudia, if I'm perpendicular to this line, what does that mean about my new slope here? Okay, that'd be parallel, right? So we could like walk parallel to each other. That's the same. What would it be in terms of perpendicular? Yeah, what's reciprocal mean?
The same thing.
That's parallel, right? If we were running parallel to each other, right?
It's like you
That would be that. But remember,
It's the same,
perpendicular. I think of my
flipped.
what do y'all do in football again? I'm forgetting it. Pursuit drill, like where you're trying to. Thank you. Where we have the perpendicular slopes, so we do the opposite reciprocal. Glendon, what would it be on this one? Good, because we'd have to flip this, right, and change the sign. Okay, Claude, does that make sense? So we're gonna put -3 in for M. And what else do I know? Well, I know we have, it goes to the point -3, 6, right? So what do we do with -3, 6, Jim?
It'd be y minus 6,
Nice.
and then it'd be -3 times x
Wait,
plus 3.
what is that?
Great
what's
job.
it called
Good
again?
work.
Point
Point slope,
slope.
I'll give that to you too.
Okay.
Okay? And remind me just remind me about tomorrow on Thursday.
You're giving this to
I
us?
need to-
That's what confirms you're giving this.
I am giving it to you. This one right here and then the slope intercept, okay?
Wait, what are you, so how do you know to
Just the slope, the y2 minus y1. By the way, podcasters,
Oh.
these are, I'm not giving you just in case. That's M, slope, right?
How's that sit?
How does what,
Oh, wait, never mind.
Why is this?
Give me the 3.
does that make sense there, Leah?
Wait, I thought we.
Yes.
Wait, we even have.
Jonathan, is that?
Well, this would be point slope. If I said slope intercept, you would then simplify it. Yep.
Yeah, we're supposed
Why
to.
is that a -3
Did it say slope intercept?
on the outside?
Yeah, it did. So we could distribute this, right? To get -x minus 9, y minus 6 equals this. Add 6 to both sides. Y equals -3x minus 3. Okay?
So that would be 3 over 1.
All right.
We
Fine.
forget
And then we
3,
also have
so, oh,
six.
never mind, sorry, I'm sorry.
You're good. So one other thing I wanted just to address with you, this is throughout on the back side as well, but what is the y-intercept of this?
Y
-3. What's the slope? 3. Good job. Exactly right.
So if it's like
Wait.
parallel, the slope is the same.
Slope would be the same. Exactly.
Why'd you just ask for the wires?
Y-intercept of this would be
I don't know.
-3, right?
Oh, and the slope is -3.
Down 3, right 1. Down 3. You know what I'm saying? On that?
So it's always like right one. It's always.
If there's nothing on the bottom. Yeah.
So always right one, not left one.
Always right, yes. That's fine. You could, but right now for what, yes, yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
Wait, are you gonna ask like what the slope intercept is?
Yes, I could, one or the other. I could ask for either or. I always start with, and then I get to the white one, it just seems easier. And especially the way we learned it, just kind of follows that, you know? Kendall, you good?
For 23,
Yeah.
28, or it tells you to draft one, it's like hand drafted or it's just
Caitlin, that's not-
Gotcha, 23 and 28.
or 328. Because it tells you to draft the line.
Yeah, you could use, you're gonna have graph paper on the test.
But what about
If you need graph paper, I have extras.
You could.
All right. Y'all, this was Coach Jay coming live. This class, Sweeters. Have a great day. We'll see.